So this video is an introduction to the college applications and college application processes at Milford High School. We're going to be talking about what resources are available to you. So we know that as you're working on college applications, you're often working on them at home, at night, on the weekends, times when you're not going to be able to easily ask for help or get answers to your questions. So the video series that we have for the college applications is highly recommended, as are the other resources, which we'll be going into. So before we get started talking about college applications, we want to make sure we're all using the same terminology, referring to the same things. So you can see here some application deadline information, early decision as a binding contract. Students can apply only to one school using early decision. If you get into a school that you applied to early decision, you have to attend that school, and that's regardless of what kind of financial aid or scholarships they offer. Early decision is a binding contract. There's also early action, which is usually earlier deadlines. Sometimes it's associated with special programs or scholarships like OSU's engineering program or UC's nursing program. Those are earlier deadlines, typically from October to about December 1st, and you have to get those applications completed early. Then also, it's usually associated with an early action deadline. There are things called priority deadlines. And if you see a priority deadline, this means that that deadline is associated with financial aid or scholarships. So, for example, if you see a priority early action deadline, that means if you want to qualify for that school scholarship program, you have to have your application in by then. There's also regular decisions. That's January to March, usually as far as deadlines go. And then typically you find out, a couple weeks or months later. Rolling decisions means there's no set deadline. That's just decisions that are made as applications arrive. So usually like a turnaround of 1 to 2 weeks, you apply, and then 1 to 2 weeks later, you find out if you were admitted or not. So those are the types of applications. There's also some standardized testing terminology we want to talk about. There is test optional, so students can submit their ACT or SAT scores, but they're not required to. There's also test blind, so the college will not look at those scores even if you do submit them. And then, of course, this isn't listed here, but test requirement or test required means that a student has to submit their ACT or SAT scores from the testing organization. So you would go to your My ACT and submit the scores through there. Now, all of those, decisions on how they're going to treat testing, most schools are still doing holistic review. Even if they're requiring test scores, it's just one other piece of your application to create, a picture of who you are entirely as a student. So some schools also will super score, so a college will accept that's when they do a combined composite score based on multiple testing dates to give you your best score. So that's that. Not all schools do that, but some do. Now, Milford has removed test scores from our transcript because we want to respect your option to choose. So even if a school would take it on a transcript, it's just very rare that a school would accept test scores from us. We don't put that on there because we're respecting the student's right to choose. Schools typically require those scores to come directly from the test company anyways, so it's not going to hurt to have it off. Here's a typical timeline for college applications from now through August. Rising seniors will research, visit colleges, start working on essay ideas. August 1st is when college applications open, and then Milford College Application Boot Camp is in August before school starts. That's 2 days to get help with getting your application complete. September and October, your last chances to take ACT if that's your test of choice. Colleges are visiting Milford. Milford's hosting workshops. And then also that's the beginning of deadline time, and FAFSA opens. And then November to February, March is when students are going to be looking at scholarships, completing workshops, making sure all of their deadlines are met. And then typically college admissions decisions will come back either, a couple weeks after or anywhere from this January to May. And then students have to make the enrollment decision by May 1st. So again, we know that a lot of times when students are working on college applications, they're working from home on the evenings and the weekends, and not necessarily at a time when we're easily available to answer questions. So we've created several resources for students that we highly recommend that they check out. And so if you're taking a look at the college application video series, which is what we have here, this is the first video of that. We walk you through introductions, how to work through your Common App, what to do if you're direct to institution, what about recommendation letters. All of that is in the boot camp series. And then we also have the counseling website, which if we take a look at, this is the college application resources page. It's got links to the videos, links to the timeline. You can go and see all of that information here. This is also where you'll find the Schoology course I'm about ready to show you. So that you would find here, and then any documents you might need. The College 101 course is a Schoology course that you can participate in. It's not required. It's simply just something to help with, walking you through the college application process. So if you go into Schoology and follow the instructions, you can take that course. Once you finish it, if you email me, we can give you credit for completing it, but again, not required. So Milford College forms are now found in Schoolings. So instead of having physical paper copies, there will be forms within your Schoolings account. You're going to do your transcript requests through Schoolings. You're going to fill out your student profile brag sheet through Schoolings. So there will be other videos that go into more in-depth detail about this, but just so you know kind of where it is and what it looks like. Again, if you go to Clever, and I do recommend doing this, you can search for Schoolings, but I also recommend making it a favorite. So if you click a little heart underneath something, it'll pop up to your favorites, and then it'll always be at the top of the page for you to find, and so you can find it there. So I have the counseling website and Schoolings right there at the top. Schoolings is also where you can do some college research, where you can make lists of interests of colleges, majors, careers, all that stuff. So like I said, we'll talk about that more in depth. But just so you know that that's one of your resources too. So some events that are happening in the fall, we're going to have college application boot camp in August. Before school starts, that link is included in the end of year email every year, also sent out separately. We have college application workshops from August to November. We've got College 101, which is an evening family night to talk about all things college prep. We've got small groups that you can participate in, leadership training, post-grad planning, visits to Milford. So lots of colleges will be visiting Milford, so you can go and talk to the admissions rep and kind of get the details from them about what you need to be a good applicant for their school. We'll do speed mentoring and FAFSA also in November. So that's an introduction to the resources available to you. Like I said, we're trying to make it as easy as possible to get your questions answered when you're at home rather than waiting to come see us during the school day. So lots of things that you can access no matter where you are that walk you through each step of the process. I do highly recommend the video series. If there's any part of the process that you're confused about, there's likely a video describing it in detail about what steps you need to take to get it completed. So if you have questions, feel free to reach out to counseling and we'll be happy to help.